MLS regular season concluded Saturday with decision day. There were some highs, some lows, some thrills and spills, but the inevitable Leo Messi hat trick got him the Golden Boot. You called it weeks ago, but MLS Golden Boot and probably the MVP for the first time is going to go back to the same guy.
Yeah.
You see it on screen with his hat trick at the weekend. He gets 29 on the year in addition to 19 assists. So action-packed Saturday, a ton of games, but leading the line, of course, the supposed greatest of all time, probably, presumably greatest of all time, Leo Messi does it.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, Lionel Messi is the greatest of all time. In fact, my 4-year-old Tiago, he has this this set of Messi PJs, Messi branded PJs that we bought him a while back just because he needed some PJs. He wanted to wear them to school or wear them out. And we're like, Tiago, those are PJs, those are pajamas. You can't wear a pajama out. That's not what they're not very thick. It's starting to get cold. It's autumn. And he's like, okay, well, I need another shirt. Like, Papa, you have to buy me another Messi shirt. So on Saturday, took him out, gave him, found some Lionel Messi branded stuff, not Inter Miami, Lionel Messi, color scheme Inter Miami. And it says the greatest of all time, GOAT, on the shirt. And sure enough, he backed it up later that day with the hat trick in that match to charge to the Golden Boot victory, 29 goals. The general line for MLS goal scoring is about 20. More than 20, you've had an exceptional season. If you get to 30, you've had a historic season. Lionel Messi comes up just short of that 30 goal total, but obviously not for lack of trying. And he didn't play. If you look at his goals per 90 minutes, they're off the chart. He didn't play as many games rather. I actually had we did in a segment, I think last week, because of the international break. I said it was unfair to Nibuanga that he had to go to Gabon or go off and play qualifiers for Gabon, while Lionel Messi could stick around and score goals against Nashville and give himself a chance to win the Golden Boot over Buanga. And we had plenty of Messi stands in the comments saying things like, shut up. That was one thing they told me. They told me to shut up. But they also said, well, Leb, he's played fewer games than Buanga. And yeah, man, look, it wasn't to say that Lionel Messi doesn't deserve all the plaudits. As you pointed out, I declared him the MVP a month ago. It was over a month ago. And now it's just, this is the extra bit that he adds on top of that, being the best goal scorer in the league, the Major League Soccer MVP, and we'll see what his team does in the playoffs.
Interesting to note on the graphic you have on the screen is the penalty goals. I mean, this isn't Stat Paddington here. I mean, that's just one penalty goal, and I think that was even amongst his hat trick on the final game of the season. And he beats Sam Surridge to that, which he's probably up for comeback player of the year, perhaps. I mean, he's had an outstanding year.
Why would he be comeback player of the year?
I mean, he was
leg last year. Did he miss the season because of injury? Why would he be?
I mean, was he a star? Was he on the goal scoring leaderboard?
What did he come back from? What did he come back from, Rob? A bad season? That's not comeback play of the year for me. That's not what the criteria is.
How about an impressive turnaround of form for the Englishman? How about that?
Okay. Yes, absolutely deserves lots of credit for turning it around and becoming so important and scoring the goals that they signed him to score. But yeah, he's not the comeback player of the year. That goes to a guy who like literally couldn't play games last year because he was injured. I don't know who that is off the top of my head. But yeah, Buanga's had a great season. Obviously, 7 penalty kick goals. So if you want to ding him for that, as you said, padding the stats, you could. Surridge has 5. Yeah, the fact that Lionel Messi has 1 penalty kick goal and it comes in the final game of the season says a lot. He wasn't the one taking the penalties. He didn't pad his stats with those spot kicks. He was great over the course of the entire campaign. When he was on the field, there's no doubt he's the best player Major League Soccer has ever had.
How about this for another half-baked shout for awards? Anders Dreyer, Newcomer of the Year. How about that?
Absolutely. Well, that's 100% lock. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Dreyer was way better than anybody expected him to be, leading a team that finished first in the Western Conference. That wasn't supposed to because, of course, they're an expansion team. That's not usually how that goes. And as I pointed out, as I was talking on a radio interview I did on Friday, that's not a team that came in, played high pressing, defensive minded. We're going to just clatter into you and make you make mistakes and score goals off of that. And that's how we're going to win games. I mean, I think of St. Louis in their inaugural season, right? That's how they did it under Bradley Carnell. That's not the way Mikey Veras has been setting this team up. They want the ball. They're going to break you down. They're going to switch the point of attack. They're going to find Anders Dreyer, who's going to find, Chuka Lozano, and they're going to do things that are fun to watch. And I think that's an incredible credit to San Diego.
Another notable achievement of Decision Day was FC Dallas getting that win. We were talking on Friday at the Fab Four how they've had a remarkable turnaround in this last 2 months of the season, and they'd have the big task of going to Vancouver to win on the final day to get that playoff berth, and they did just that. A 2-1 away win on the road in one of the strongest teams in the West. A remarkable turnaround after transferring one of their quote unquote better players midsummer.
Oh, there's no doubt that Lucho Acosta was the best player FC Dallas had at the start of the season, but as we know from history, that's not how sports work. You don't always, your best player doesn't always fit what you're trying to do, or if his attitude is bad, and that was the case in for Lucho Acosta, it was addition by subtraction, as you called it on Friday. This is not a player who was helping this team because he didn't want to be where he was. So sell him, find a way to rally the group that you still have, and here you go. It is Dallas into the playoffs and avoiding the playing game too, which is I think maybe even more of a surprise than just making the playoffs.
Yeah, on the opposite end, you see on the screen the playoff bracket. We'll probably digest the bracket in general to a larger degree later in the week, but you see at the bottom of the screen the playoff games that are happening on Wednesday night. In the opposite situation from Dallas is Orlando. They had a terrible slide to end their season and only just get into the playoff game by the skin of their teeth. They'll take on playoff returners Chicago Fire.
Chicago hosting a play. I mean, I know it's the playing game, and I don't want to get to wildcard matches. I don't want to get too precious about this. Oh, Chicago, what a great job they did. They finished 8th in a 15-team division, whatever. But the fact that Chicago will get a chance to host this game. Now, they don't get to host it at Soldier Field, which would be fun. They're going to be playing it at SeatGeek Stadium. Why? I'm sure that's a Wednesday night match. I'm not sure why you can't play that at Soldier Field, but that's what I'm seeing via the schedule that Major League Soccer dropped. That game will be fun from a Fire perspective because they haven't been in the playoffs for so long. I point that out. I think, you're also talking about here with this MLS Cup playoff format. Again, some of these teams are going to be waiting for a while. The schedule is kind of a weird mix of different competing problems. I will say that it is good to see that Major League Soccer is going to break down a little bit of the paywall. So if you are an Apple TV subscriber, you will get access to MLS Season Pass playoff games. You don't have to pay the extra MLS Season Pass fee to get the playoff games. Whether or not they can promote that enough to juice the numbers, I don't know, but that does help for viewership for the playoffs.
Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite me, but I am not an Apple viewer, but somehow have been able to watch these MLS games. So lucky me. Don't tell internet officials that I've been so lucky.